Hey guys, so today's video is going to be my first Throwback Thursday video. I don't know if these are actually going to go up on Thursdays. I'm going to have to change the title, just Throwback. But a lot of you have requested for me to talk about my high school experience, and you've been very vague about what exactly you want me to talk about. I know some of you wanted me to do like a high school talk series, very similar to my college talk series, but I think high school talk just sounds kind of lame. And also, I don't remember as much about high school since it feels like a really long time ago, so I'm going to break these up into each year, and hopefully that will help you out. I'm going to talk about what classes I took, whatever sort of personal experiences I was having during that year, as well as any sort of advice that I have for people going into that particular grade. So let me know, this is just kind of like a tester, I guess. Let me know if this is what you wanted me to talk about. And I guess we'll just go from there. So let's get started. So freshman year of high school, I started, it was, let's see, 2006. I started my freshman year of high school, and I will start with the classes that I took. So generally, everyone has to take 6 classes except seniors. Seniors can take 5, which is cool. Anyway, so I took Algebra 2 honors, Integrated Science 2 honors, English 1 honors, Intermediate Dance, Spanish 2, and CDRO, which I don't even remember what that stands for, / Health. So it was like half the year was CDRO and half the year was Health. That was like our mandatory freshman elective type thing. I took 3 honors classes. I think I took regular Spanish that year, so only 3. It kind of sounds like a big course load to go into as a freshman, but I had already taken 2 honors classes at the high school when I was in 8th grade in middle school. And that wasn't particularly weird. There was a decent amount of us who did the exact same thing. We all were a year ahead in math, so we took math at the high school when we were in 8th grade. So I took geometry honors when I was in 8th grade. And then we had the option to take a science class there if we wanted to as well. So I ended up taking Integrated Science 1 honors when I was in 8th grade. Integrated Science isn't something that's offered at every school. It's basically what it sounds like. It's all different pieces of different sciences kind of clumped into one class, so it's integrated into one course. Well, technically 2. It's not, you know, as well revered as like a bio class or a chem class, but by far, Integrated 1 and 2 were my favorite science classes that I've ever taken. I loved them. They were really fun. Integrated Science 2 was the one that I took when I was a freshman, and during Halloween, my teacher set up like all these creepy like experiments. It was awesome. And there was also a unit that we did on like a murder scene, so she set up like a legit scene with evidence, and we all had our roles as like there's like defense and prosecutors and everything. It was so awesome. I loved that class so much. But anyway, that's not the point of this. So Algebra 2 honors, I'd always been fairly good at math, so that wasn't really anything challenging. English 1 honors, I was also pretty good at English too, so that wasn't really anything. Spanish, this class like holds a dear place in my heart now because my Spanish teacher actually passed away a couple years after I graduated, so she was always like very, very kind, and she was really supportive of the dance team and the dance department, and she would always ask us about like the shows, and she'd always tell us after she saw them like what she thought about them, so I really just, that class is just very sentimental, I guess. CDRO / Health, again, it was our elective. It wasn't anything to even remember. All I know is in CDRO we worked on computers all the time, and we were working, I think it was like career development. I'm making that up completely, but I do remember we did do some like career like quizzes like to figure out what we were like meant to do, and I don't even remember what mine said, but yeah, those classes are just pointless. So I left Intermediate Dance for the last class to talk about because it probably influenced the rest of my high school career the most, not necessarily because of this class, but just how it set me up for the rest of my dance years in high school. So in order to get into intermediate dance, you have to try out the year before. So I did try out when I was in 8th grade. I had a couple of friends whose sisters were already in the department, and they were like, hey, you know, like, do you want to try out with us? So we'd gone to a couple of the high school's workshops that they hosted to kind of prepare you for auditions, and so I was like, okay. I had been dancing my entire life, but I had no formal training, like none. I had always gone to like different classes, and I was on a performing team, but we weren't competitive, we weren't technical, we were just there to entertain, really. and like I didn't know the difference between like a right turn and a left turn and an outside turn and an inside turn, and there's more than one type of splits. I was so just like, what? I did have hip hop going for me, so that was really cool. I did make the team. I still to this day do not know how I made it, because Wendy and I, she's the friend that I tried out with, when we got to the audition routine, because you do across the floor stuff, you really don't need to know any of this. Basically, I forgot the entire routine after like 3 counts and improv the rest of it. So how I made it, I will never know. But the reason intermediate dance is so important to me is because I had that hip-hop background. When I was on the team, when we were choreographing for shows, we had to try out a routine. We had to perform like a small snippet of it, and then it was voted on. And so I choreographed for the very first time, and I had never done that before, so it was really weird. And I was the only one who really had like legit, okay, I don't know if I would call it legit, but hip-hop experience. I had done hip-hop for a year or so. I choreographed my first routine, it got into the show, and it was the first time that I was like put into this leadership position with people who were older than me looking up to me and looking to me for direction. It was a really weird position. I was a freshman and it was intermediate, so there were sophomores mainly, but there were juniors and seniors as well. So it was just like, it was intimidating, but it taught me to take charge. It taught me to learn how to express exactly what I wanted in dance in particular. So it was just a really good learning experience, I guess. And after intermediate, I did go up into advanced the next 3 years, which I will get to in my later videos. Another thing that dance helped me with, it's going to be all about dance basically, but it gave me a new like friendship pool. So as I mentioned, there are other grades in the class, but it was like I wouldn't have been friends with these people if we hadn't been brought together by this particular hobby of ours. And you know, there are people who are all at different academic levels, have different interests, have different friends. Like everyone after class, I mean, just like we don't really talk to each other that much, but if you see each other in the halls, it's kind of like, hey, it was a really nice just thing, I guess. And also it just gave me a lot of confidence, because not only did it give me like a nice group of friends, but also I did continue to choreograph throughout the year. I think I choreographed a total of 3 routines that year. So I was constantly in like a sort of leadership position, I guess you could say. But it was good to know that people liked your stuff, right? So that was really helpful. So moving on to my personal life, this is what I feel like everybody is actually curious about. I have mentioned before that I had a boyfriend from 6th grade, and we broke up at the beginning of my freshman year. It was like a long relationship for a middle school one, right? Those usually last about 3 hours or so. It was weird. We broke up the night of my school's homecoming dance, and I say my school because he chose to go to a different high school in the same city, but he chose to go to a different one for basketball reasons, and he left me and all his friends behind. Not bitter. Just kidding. I feel like he'll probably see this at some point in time, so I'm just giving him a hard time. But really, it's totally fine. And so we didn't see each other very often, and we didn't talk as much. I mean, he was making friends at his school, and I was with my friends, who we had all been with, I guess, forever. But I feel like we just kind of drifted apart. You know, we were starting a whole new chapter of our lives in high school, so we ended up breaking up the night of our homecoming dance. We didn't go. I was never into dances, so we just didn't go. And that happened. I do remember my friend Wendy, the same one I tried out with her, and my friend Mari, they called me, or I called them, I can't remember, but they had gone to the dance, and they were like, hey, like, how are you? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, you know, we just broke up. And everyone was like, oh, crap, how are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm alright. It was just a really weird feeling. I'd been with him for so long that it was just like I'm single. Like, it's so weird. And he was like my first boyfriend too, so it was just like, I don't know what to do with myself. So that happened, but you know, that happened. And then, okay, so a month later I did get a new boyfriend, which in retrospect probably wasn't the best idea. I really liked him, and we were together I think for like 9 or 10 months, and he was really nice. We're still friends. I'm still friends with all my exes, which I am very happy about, but the timing probably wasn't the best, and my ex and there was a love triangle. See, these things actually happen in real life. See, my ex wanted to get back together, and then this new guy came along, but see, they knew each other. We all went to the same middle school, so it was like this weird, and I know that they talked to each other, like, not necessarily behind my back, but yeah, kind of behind my back. It's just like, I remember there was this one lunch period where I was with all my friends, and I was like, oh my god, like, who do I choose? Like, I was stressed out about this, and I just look back at this, I'm like, ugh, Katie, shaking my head, man. But yeah, so I ended up picking the new guy, as I said, and that happened. So that was pretty much, you know, my personal life. For that year. There was always some friend drama, but that's pretty normal. I honestly feel like the beginning of high school is just a continuation of the drama from middle school. Like, you can't escape that, man. Like, it follows you. So that's that. Let's talk about something else now. One little thing I did want to mention is that my older brother, he's 2 years older than me, so he was a junior when I was a freshman, and that has its pros and cons, because he was randomly just, like, around. Like, during lunch, he would, like, walk through the quad or something, and I would be with, like, my boyfriend. It was, like, really awkward because he would, like, stare at us and everything. I'm like, okay, go away, please. And, I mean, it's just, like, whatever. He wasn't, like, looking for me, but, I mean, just randomly we would cross paths and stuff. And that was weird, but at the same time, it was always good, because I knew that if I needed help, if I needed something, my brother was just, he was around. So that was always nice. Thanks, Eric. You are super cool. Overall, if I have any tips for freshman year, it's really just relax, because I feel like a lot of people, the transition from middle school to high school is like a big deal. I feel like it wasn't as difficult for me just because I had already been around the campus. When I was in 8th grade, I took 2 classes there, so it was kind of like I was sort of used to it, sort of, key terms there, sort of, but, you know, I had a little bit of preparation, I guess. But, you know, everyone's kind of finding their footing. There's a lot of clubs that you can join, there's different sports and activities, and there's just a lot of changes compared to middle school. It's usually, at least for me, it was a bigger campus. There's a lot of new people who you haven't seen before, and just new teachers, new setups and everything. It's a lot to adjust to, I guess. And just know, I mean, everyone has to do it. So don't freak out about it. It's really not as scary as it may seem. So hopefully that is helpful. Don't worry about making friends, because it takes time. It takes time. I know my friends changed from freshman year to senior year. Not necessarily that I wasn't friends with some of the same people, but some people just kind of drifted a little bit away. Everyone found their different niches, and that's just kind of what happens in life in general. So just don't worry about it. And that's all I have to say. So again, let me know if this is what you guys wanted me to talk about for these high school videos. And that is it. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!